Okay, good morning students. Today we are going to discuss about surface chemistry. Into that surface chemistry we are going to take a topic adsorption isotherm. Okay. So what is adsorption isotherm means? It is a quantitative analysis. And what is called adsorption? What is adsorbate and adsorbent we know. So whenever the adsorbate means the substance which is going to held on the surface of the adsorbent. Usually we are using adsorbent as a charcoal, that is activated charcoal. And what is called adsorption isotherm? That is a plot you are going to draw between amount of adsorbate adsorbed, okay, that is the amount of adsorbate that should be adsorbed with the pressure at constant temperature. Okay. So this is called adsorption isotherm, that is a plot drawn between the amount of adsorbate adsorbed with the pressure at constant temperature. This is called the adsorption isotherm. Many theories have explained this adsorption isotherm, but we are going to discuss only one theory, that is known as Freundlich isotherm. So that is given by the formula, that is to explain Freundlich isotherm and what is adsorption isotherm. Let me take the equation. X by m is equal to k p power 1 by n. Kp power 1 by n. Where what is x by m? X is the amount of the adsorbate. X by m is the amount of the adsorbate that should be adsorbed on the adsorbent, that is amount of adsorbate adsorbed on the adsorbent. Okay, adsorbent. Where here if you are taking k and n or the constant, that is known as Freundlich constant, and where P is pressure involved in the isotherm, pressure involved in this process. Okay, x by m equal to Kp power 1 by n. Where this form you can use, and this is effective only for adsorption of gases. Adsorption of gases, because gases means we are using a pressure. If you want to absorb for solution, for adsorption of solution on the adsorbent, for adsorption of solution, we use a term x by m is equal to k c the power n. So instead of this place pressure, we have to use a concentration term k c the power 1 by n, where c is a concentration. C is a concentration. So there are two types of formulas we have used. One is based on the gases and another one is if solution is absorbed on the adsorbent. Okay. And the same way, this equation, this Freundlich isotherm that gives the effect of pressure, that is the effect of pressure on the adsorbate. That is, this equation clearly explains what happens to the pressure on the adsorbate. The adsorbate can be the gases or the solution. Okay. And next step, if you take a log on both sides, whatever may be the equation. Suppose if I am taking this equation as 1, this equation as 2, okay, you can take any one equation, you take a log on both sides. So if I am taking log x by m is equal to, okay, log k, okay, here log k plus p into log of 1 by n. So here log of, here if I am splitting log k plus log of p 1 by n, I can write log of x by m is equal to log k plus 1 by n into, here I can write log of x by m is equal to log k plus 1 by n log p. So I can write like this. Okay. So by taking this equation, we can draw the graph. That is, if you know that just I have explained what is x by m, what is k, what is p, like that. And what is n means, n is an integer value. That n value, it is always less than unity. So usually you can take less than 1. Okay, the n value should be considered. So now I am going to draw a graph between log x by m and log p, like that. Okay. Or we can draw a graph with x by m with usually pressure also. So if I am taking a graph like this, okay. So take a log x by m in one axis and log p in another axis. So we are going to get one curve like structure like this. Okay, like this. Now it proves that this is a graph, it is related to x by m, that is directly proportional to p the power of 1 by n. This graph is related to, it gives a relation x by m is directly proportional to p the power of 1 by n. Now if I am taking an extent of this, okay, and this gives a value x by m is directly proportional to p the power 1, and same way if I am taking this value gives x by m directly proportional to p0. So this gives a different graphical values that should be drawn between the amount of the adsorbent and the pressure. In the same way, if you draw the graph between that x by m value and the pressure, okay, we are going to get one straight line like this. Okay, so the line will be like this representing. So by without the log. So here this will be intercept, and this slope value that will be possible by taking a slope like this. Okay, from this equation log x by m is equal to log k plus 1 by n log p. This is in a straight line equation, and here we are going to take this intercept value, that is intercept that will be equal to log k, and slope value that will be equal to 1 by n. So from that we will take one intercept, that is the intercept value will be equal to log k, and the slope value will be equal to 1 by n. So this is called a Freundlich adsorption isotherm curves relating this by using of a one equation, that is x by m is equal to kp the power 1 by n. So what is the limitation of this means? This is an empirical formula, and this Freundlich adsorption isotherm we can use it only with the low pressure. So Limitation means you can take only, this will be applicable at a low pressure. Low pressure. Okay, and next one, if I am taking the constant, that is K value as a constant. So here K and N I have taken, no? This is K and N value or a constant value. Okay, and this can be vary and vary with only temperature, related to the temperature. Vary with temperature, and this is not predictable. Okay, this is not an experimental data. So only the two limitations, this friendly adsorption isotherm, it can be applicable only at a low pressure term, and where two constant we have used, that constant value vary with the temperature, but this is not predictable by using of a experimental data. Next, uses of adsorption. Okay, the adsorption has many numerous applications, but we will see the possible applications. So let us take first one. In gas mask, we have used in gas mask we have used charcoal as used in the adsorption purpose during the First World War. The American and British peoples have used the charcoal, which is that will be mostly used as a adsorbent. That is, this will be used as a adsorbent. Okay, first uses. And second one, to create high vacuum. To create high vacuum in vessel. Okay. High vacuum in vessel. Taylor, that is Taylor and Dewar, there are two scientists named Taylor and Dewar. They have used activated charcoal. They have used activated charcoal. To create high vacuum in vessel, Taylor and Dewar used activated charcoal. This is one of the best application of adsorption. And same way, for purification of gases, what are all the gases we can use for the purification means, I can take chlorine, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, oxygen, even helium you can take. There is a monoatomic gas, helium. For the purification of the gases like chlorine, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, oxygen and helium, we have used alumina and silica. Now Al2O3 and SiO2. So both are used as a adsorption purpose. So for the purification of gases. Okay, and same way. For in blast furnace, blast furnace and drying of air. Okay, in both purpose we have used silica gel as a best adsorbent. So there are uses, high vacuum to create high vacuum for the purification of gases, and in the blast furnace we have used silica gel as one of the adsorbent. And next uses, that is the adsorption, this phenomena is best uses for the softening of the hard water. That is softening of hard water. So for the softening of the hard water, we are using permitute. Okay, what is permitute means? Hydrated sodium aluminosilicate. What is permitute? Hydrated sodium aluminosilicate. Permitute is used in this process that absorbs calcium and magnesium ions. that absorbs water, calcium and magnesium ion. And same way, these ions are adsorbed on the surface of the permeatute, and the ions are adsorbed on the surface, and there will be exchanging of the ions. There will be exchanging of ions taking place. Now we will see what type of exchange by taking one permeatute. Let me take the one permeatute, Na2Al2Si4O12. Okay, this is one permeatute. And if you take calcium chloride, there will be exchanging of the ions that will be taken. So you will get CaAl2Si4O12. Okay, and in addition to that, we are going to get one side product, that is NaCl. To balance here Na, so I will put 2 in it. Okay. And this exhausted permeatute, that should be regenerated. So if the exhausted permeatute formula CaL2Si4O12, this will be again regenerated by adding a common salt. So the common salt, I am going to add a NaCl. Into that I am going to get Na2Al2Si4O12 CaCl2. This should be a reversible process. Okay, so exhausted regenerated is by adding the common salt to NaCl. Okay, this is called the exchanging of an ion is possible. So for the softening of the hard water, by using of a permeatute, we have exchanged the ions. Okay, and one more, that is in the resins. Okay, in resins, how we are using this absorption phenomena in resins. So if I am taking a resins, ion exchange resins. Okay, resin la we can take ion exchange resins. Okay, this ion exchange resins is working based on the principle of adsorption. So first, based on adsorption. Okay, here this ion exchange resin that is used to demineralize the water, and same way here there will be a passage of a water through the column. The just we have to pass the water through column of cation and anion. Okay, and this cation and anion, that will be exchanging of the ions. Okay, now I will give you the examples of resins. Okay, I will give you examples of resins that will exchanging their ions. Let me take one resin called RSO3H. This is a resin. If I am adding the ions like Ca plus 2 or Mg plus 2, okay, just you are going to get by adding these two, okay, there will be exchanging of the ions. So the exchanging will be RSO3 twice Ca. Instead of Ca, we can use Mg. Additionally, the H plus will be eliminated. If you take this is a divalent, so put 2 here, and same way the elimination of a 2H plus. So here, this is a resin. This is minerals in water. Okay, minerals in water. So minerals in water, the ions can be exchangeable with the resins. Okay, this is named as resins with the minerals. Resins with the minerals. Okay, and I will give you one more example. So if I am taking a resin like this, the ammonium, that is R1, R2, R3, that is involved many type of alkyl group, that is OH minus resin. The same way, if I am replacing the Cl minus or SO4 2 minus, okay, this can be possible. So this N will be coordinated with the more alkyl group R1, R2, R3, R4 like that, and it is added with the Cl, or in the place we can substitute SO4 also, and in the same way the OH minus that should be eliminated. So here also it is taken as one type of resin. This is minerals we are going to obtain from water, okay, and the minerals from the water can be exchangeable with the resin, and we are going to get resins with the minerals, resins with the. Okay, next uses we are going to see refining of petroleum and oils. Okay, so for that we can take fuller's earth and silica gel. We can use fuller's earth and silica gel. We know fuller's earth is a clay type material we can use, and that is used to decoloring the water or oil, okay, without any using of a harmful chemical treatment. Fuller's earth is it's a type of clay that is used to decolorize oil or any type of a water molecule without the harmless material, harmless treatment, okay. And same way, next we are going to see about molasses decolorization. We know that from that molasses we are getting sugar. That sugar can be decolorized by using of a animal charcoal, and next one in chromatography. How this adsorption we have used. You know that chromatography is a technique that is used to separate component in a mixture. Separate component in a mixture by using of adsorption. By using adsorption phenomena. This is more or less based on the adsorption, and this can be employed for the identification of just we can take identification, estimation, and even deduction of compounds. Which are present even in small quantity. That small compound present even in micro amount. Even very small material also that can be detectable, that can be absorbed by using of a chromatography technique. Okay, and same way we can take catalysis. In catalysis, how this adsorption helps means we know that surface chemistry, it is mainly due to the adsorption phenomena, where we have used catalyst for the adsorption. Okay, and how this catalyst acting as the adsorption means, if you take Haber's process. In Haber's process, we know that Haber's process is a synthesis of ammonia. So synthesis of ammonia means I can prepare ammonia by taking gaseous hydrogen and gaseous nitrogen, and if you have prepared this NH3, okay. So if you take this, how to balance 3H2, if I put 2, that will be balanced. Okay, this is a formation of ammonia, and this reaction is catalyzed by using of iron. So here we have used catalyst as iron In the same way, I have used promoter as a molybdenum. There are two materials, elements we have used. One is iron and another one is a molybdenum. Here, iron is using as a catalyst. Okay, this iron only catalyst. The iron catalyst the reaction. The iron surface only catalyst the reaction. So this is because of the adsorption. Okay, and same way, hydrogenation of a vegetable oil. If you take hydrogenation of oil also, best example. If I am taking any vegetable oil, just we are adding with the hydrogen. In the presence of a nickel, that will be acting as a catalyst, and this reaction will be favorable by using of a temperature 473 Kelvin. So whenever hydrogenation of a hydrogenation means addition of a hydrogen with the vegetable oil. So we are going to get vanaspati as a product. Okay. So here the catalyst ion, that is nickel. Okay. Here we have used nickel as a catalyst. That is only catalyst the reaction, and nickel provides a surface for the reaction. Okay, for the adsorption. And same way, if I am taking qualitative analysis, in qualitative analysis, we are using this adsorption. In qualitative analysis, we are using this adsorption. So if I am taking a blue litmus solution, okay, so you are taking blue litmus solution. Into that blue litmus solution, when you add Al plus 3 ion, aluminium, that is a trivalent cation, Al3 plus. Whenever if you add, we will get red coloration. Okay, this is due to the acidic nature of a solution. Because of the acidic nature of solution, we are getting a red coloration. And next, into that red coloration, if I am adding ammonium hydroxide, into that add ammonium hydroxide, okay, we will get blue lake. Okay, blue lake, that is layer like color, blue lake. So this blue lake is because of the adsorption of the blue litmus solution, adsorption of blue litmus compound or a solution, okay, over formed aluminium hydroxide. So how this aluminium hydroxide will be formed means, in the red coloration we are having that aluminium ion. That aluminium ion reacts with ammonium hydroxide. We are going to get aluminium hydroxide, and this aluminium hydroxide only now the color will be what? Blue in color. So whenever if I am taking any blue color litmus solution, just if you are adding a trivalent cation aluminium, you will get a red coloration. So the red coloration is due to the acidic nature of the solution, and whenever into that again we are adding that ammonium hydroxide, we will get a blue lake. And why we are giving a blue lake solution means because of the adsorption of a blue litmus compound over that aluminium hydroxide. How that aluminium hydroxide will be formed means the reaction between aluminium and ammonium hydroxide. This is a good example for a qualitative analysis. Okay, and same way if you are taking medicine. Okay, in medicine, how this adsorption will be help? In medicine means we are using drugs. How the drugs can be accumulated? Drugs can be adsorbed, okay, on the tissues, on or by the tissues. Okay, by the adsorption phenomenon only we are taking drugs. Okay, so adsorption is used there also, and concentration of ores, concentrations of ores of metal. If I am taking concentration of ores of metal, let me take Froth flotation. We know Froth flotation, we are concentrate the sulfide ores. Froth flotation, just we are concentrating the sulfide ores. Okay. How this concentrated means just we are taking the ore that should be added with the pine oil, everything that is taken in an iron container. Now what happened? If you take the ore is the lighter in amount. The lighter ore particles are wetted by that is light ore wetted by pine oil. Wetted by a pine oil. And there also what? There will be adsorption of ore by the pine oil. So there also application of adsorption in the concentration of ores of metals. And in the same way, if you are taking the adsorption indicators, usually we know what is indicator. The indicator is a substance that is used to indicate the end point in the acid base titration, generally in the titration. So if you are taking any acid base titration, the external indicators we are going to use, that is in acid base titration, the external indicators we are using that is used to give a color to the precipitate. So whenever the precipitate is formed, after the adsorption of the color of the indicator only, we will get a color of the precipitation. So by indicating the color change only, we comes to know that whether the reaction is completed or not. For that purpose, we have used adsorption. So far we are taking the uses of adsorption. The adsorption uses in gas mask for to making holes in high vacuum, ion exchange resins, softening of a hard water, medicine purpose, refining of a petroleum and oils. Same way for to decolorize sugar we have used, in chromatography we have used, and in catalysis purpose we have used. And the same way catalyst purpose means we are taking a two process, one is a Haber's and a hydrogenation of oil. Next in qualitative analysis also we have used adsorption. In the same way medicine purpose, concentration of ores of a metal, and finally we have discussed about using of indicators. Okay, so in this chapter we have used uses and what is called adsorption isotherm. Thank you.